Hello, my wonderful friends. Magus here on a beautiful day in Asha. So here's that video I was talking about doing. I'm going to talk about my time in a cult. I feel I'm in a right state of mind to talk about it because it's painful. And last time I told you about the video I made, I was so still hurt and damaged and angry. I took the video down because I wasn't doing myself or anyone good with putting that information out yet. But I've done some more healing, and I think it's time. So this will probably be a long one. Maybe just settle in, grab something warm to drink, sit down, and we'll just spend some time together. It's kind of funny as we start. It starts in my crib as a baby. My mom said that the rocking chair next to my crib would just rock all by itself, like there was another entity there next to my crib watching. Things happened in our house as a child growing up, unexplainable. Like the radios would just turn all the way up as loud as they'd go. Things would turn on or off by themselves. I started getting my first connection to other beings, getting downloads, dreaming dreams. So much so that it was bringing the attention of adults. They were seeing something was going on. One time I told my mom that I saw the devil's face in my closet. I knew something was wrong with the closet area. The people that we had bought the house from, they were selling it because it was haunted. And something must have gone on in this one closet in one room, which ended up being my bedroom. And maybe things they kept in there. But I told my mom in the middle of the night, I saw the devil's face in my closet. There was like a little hatch that went up into an attic. And she goes, "You were just dreaming." Right? Matter of fact, me and my mom just talked about this a couple days ago as I was telling her I'm making these videos right now, trying to remember, did I remember right? So I told her, I saw the devil's face coming through that attic opening. She goes, "Oh, you were just dreaming, honey." And so she walks over to the closet, looks in, and the hatch is moved, and all the insulation had fallen down through it and was hanging and on the ground. And she's going, "Uh-oh." The musical instruments, we had a music room, would play by themselves. We couldn't keep a babysitter. My parents, my dad would work all day long, and then they're also building their own business, so they'd be out at night. I'd get a babysitter, and they wouldn't last long because I'd tell them things like, just know weird things are going to happen. Things are going to move, right? The TV or radio, whatever you're with, will turn all the way up as loud as it'll go, or you'll go in, and go to, well, can I share this one story with you? When I started getting these downloads where I knew things that I probably shouldn't know, and I was getting to how to hear like that. And I remember one time, because, you got this mixture of awe and fear. And as a child, you're probably, it's a different kind of scared, but it's more of an excitement, maybe because I was young. And I remember one time I got home, and it was night, and I didn't want to be scared. And so it was a big house, and I just left the lights off. I'm just going to feel my way to my room, go in and flip on my light. It's kind of my way of showing I'm brave. And so I'm kind of feeling around. I'm going up the stairs, going down the hall to my room. And I kind of had this voice in the back of my head. Well, what's going to happen when you get to your room? You flip on that light and it doesn't come on. Are you going to be so brave? And I started getting goosebumps, and I was thinking, that light's not going to flip on when I get there. Got in my room, flipped the light switch. It did not go on, just like that voice I heard. But I kind of steadied myself. There was a little bit of light coming in through the window. So I kind of focused on that, centered myself, and said, no, I'm not going to be afraid. And so then I just walked back down the hall and flipped on the hall light. And so it was kind of this dance of the different energies around me, feeling them out. I heard a voice one time that to this day and through my life has kind of guided me. It was a download. I was very young. And I heard a voice say, when you're grown, you're either going to be very, very good, or you're going to be very, very evil. And I got a download, more than just the words of that, but I got a download, and I could kind of see the different timelines of it and what it meant and entailed. And I saw that I can't allow myself to go the evil route. It wouldn't be good. I started having what you would probably call teachers or spirit guides, answering questions for me that like parents and teachers couldn't answer. Because I'm trying to understand how things work, what life is. And as they're teaching me these things, I was kind of thinking like, well, wouldn't it be easier because of what we're up against here, just not to try or just give in to the base nature, right? Just survival of the fittest. And I'm a really young child at this time. And the guides were showing me that you have to stay up towards the top, towards the good. Otherwise, they showed it's almost like you're sinking. And as you get lower, you get more uncomfortable. And as you get low, it gets to a point where it's almost like torturous, right? Which you might call hell, right? The flames get too hot, and metaphorically, like just life gets too bad. Like if you just give up, where you're just angry and hateful, and it creates a hell in your own world. Right? You don't have friends. You've hurt people. It creates a world that it's too painful till pretty soon you have to start swimming up. I know many of you experienced that with things like addictions, and you can't let yourself just sink into the abyss of despair and hate. And it finally gets to a point where it's too uncomfortable. So they're showing me it's better just to stay up, stay in those high frequencies. Even when your brain and the world might be telling you it's easier just to sink, just give up, just hate, right? Just do unto them before they do unto you. But it'll get to a place, and then it's hard. There's like a panic. That's what those panic attacks are, right? You've gone so low, and it's almost like you're drowning, and you want to get back to the surface, but you don't know if you're going to make it, if there's enough air left in your lungs to get back up. And the spirit guys were telling me, just don't sink. Just stay up. Fight for the higher frequency. I got where I could see things. I remember adults coming to me like they're going to buy a house, and it was a real old house, and it's some of my parents' friends, and they brought me as a kid in to walk around and feel it out. Right? Is there any evil spirits or things like that in it? I tried my first spell when I was in third grade. I was fascinated with magic. There was an overwhelming frustration I had in life. What I found now in Zoroastrianism, that Asha can be frustrated by the Druze. The truth can be frustrated by the lie. And so as parents and teachers and preachers and people, they're telling me lies, but they're calling it truth. But something deep inside of me knew that's not right. And so I'd get this frustrating feeling, guys. I can't even describe it to you. I can think back of it. It was horrible. my friends. But something happens sometimes when you're in those places that are so uncomfortable. Again, you fight to get out of it, right? You have such a strong desire, and that's when our magic rises to create a better world. And this is all happening to me as a small child. I started to notice some things. There was kind of a protection around me. I grew up in San Bernardino, California, which is not a safe place. But there's always just a protection around me. I started to notice something that was beyond coincidence. And this is what I noticed with the good and the evil. And I will get to the point about being in a cult, but I want to build my life story here and what leads up to these different things and to where I am now. I saw that even as a child, anyone who attacked me, right? Like I said, I lived in a gang-infested city. Anyone that came against me violently, they would die. Where pretty soon it got to a point where I'm all, oh, that's not just coincidence. I remember in school, he was a gang member. He threw me down the stairs. He didn't come back to school the next day. He was driving and went under the back of a truck and decapitated him. And it just story after story. But I kind of had a knowing at the same time. And so here's where my learning came. Because I have a gift of prophecy, which we'll get more into. I can see things before they happen. I can sense the energy. When there's a big event coming, it makes such a ripple in that electromagnetic field. I sense it, and sometimes I can put like pictures to it and understanding to it. Sometimes Spirit will just right out come and speak it to me or show me. I'd have these knowings. And so I was always trying to go, is this, because I never wanted to practice black magic. And sometimes when you, for instance, like being thrown downstairs, or when my friend had an affair with my wife, and there's strong emotion with it, right? And you have this power. And I'll use this example. There's many, but with my friend that, sleeping with my wife, we got into a physical fight, right? And it was getting to the point where someone was going to die, right? Neither of us were backing down. We're both stubborn. I knew I was in the right. That's my wife. He's trying to break us up, take my children away. I felt like I was in the right. And Spirit told me to leave him alone. And I was not having good thoughts at the time, guys. My son, I remember him sitting on my lap, just their little chubby, cute faces. I had still have two most beautiful children. My boy sitting on my lap, just tears. He couldn't catch his breath. Daddy, I don't want you to leave. I just want things to go back to the same. Please, Daddy, make it right. Make it right. And I couldn't fucking make it right. My friends, oh my God, and something rose up in me, my friends. And this is where I get confused. Was I just prophesying, seeing what happened? Or did I make it happen? I spoke out. I'll just use his name, Dan. Fuck him. And you know what? I have, you guys know this has been following me. I have reconciled. We have become friends. We've hung out together. We've done things. And I understand about forgive and forget, but you never forget. And can something like that, does anyone have the power to really forgive someone's sin and error like that? You say, oh, I forgive. There's a thing you do for yourself so you can move on, right? More like, I think it should be called, I'm going to let that go. Fuck you. but we want to sound a little more spiritual. And I forgive you. I forget about it. We'll see. And I know, well, you have to forgive to be forgiven. You do you. I told the guy I love him, right? I've been there for him when he needed me. I think that's showing love. And again, I don't have to use other people's words, forgive and forget. And again, like I say, because it's not that I hate him. It's just, I don't know if I have the ability to forgive his sins. I think he's got to work that out himself. Now he's got to prove himself, to the universe, to me, to life, and make better decisions and try to heal those. But how do you ever heal that? And what was done to me, to my children. So anyway, Spirit told me flat out, and I know when I hear from Spirit, leave him alone. Do not touch Dan again. And so I told Dan, I said, I'll never lay another hand on you, because we got into some brawls, dude. I said, but here's what's going to happen. You will begin to deteriorate and die right before our eyes without me touching you. Next time I saw him, he didn't look good. He looked skinny, bent over, gray. He was dying from the inside out. It got to a point where he couldn't function anymore, couldn't work, couldn't do anything. He was dying. So now, I was literally crying. And now I was praying for God to heal him. And I don't know where that bubbled up from, because I really hated him at the time. But there was something in me wondering, did I just see what was going to happen to him right before it happened to him? Or did all that hate, all that emotion, did I do that? And my friends, I'm telling you, I've seen different places I've worked, schools, things. Everyone that has come across against me in a hateful, violent way, they die. And it's not that God's my hitman, right? But I think they separate themselves from truth. When you go against something that's pure and it's good, when you put yourself in that resonance for evil, you're just in resonance to be attacked. It's kind of like, black magic, right? 3 times. It can come on you 3 times. You give an undeserved curse on someone else, it can come back on you 3 times. I think these people, by coming against me when I didn't deserve it, right, it came back on them 3 times or maybe more. But it has gotten to a point where it's not coincidence. The healings I've seen, the good things I've seen are not coincidence. The things I've heard and seen where I've told people what's going to happen and it happened, there's no question anymore. They don't think, oh, that was 50-50 chance. That was a lucky guess. Pretty soon it gets to a point where something's going on here. I want to touch on dream. We're going to touch on a lot here, and we're going somewhere. So it'll be a long one. And if there's parts of this that doesn't interest you, just hang in there for this video. There will be other parts that do interest you. There will be some parts that you disagree with. That's people's first inclination is, well, I'm just going to shut this off. Please don't. Those are usually the things you need to hear most, to think about. You don't have to agree with me, but look at it, think about it. You know what I mean? There might be a reason you're fighting it. It might just be programming that you got from someone else. But take a look at those things. When I was in, what was that, 7th grade? Yeah, I started lucid dreaming. it's kind of a funny thing, but because of what I was dealing with, I was having visions, all the things happening. I got spirit guides. I got good and bad kind of pulling me in both directions. My dreams and nightmares and visions, and it was a lot for a child. And I remember seventh grade, I don't know why I opened up to this teacher, but we're talking about something, and I started telling her, maybe she asked if I was tired or something, but I told her I was struggling with nightmares, a lot of nightmares. And so she goes, I think I can help you. She went to her desk and got out a couple pages about lucid dreaming. She said, check into this. I think it's going to help you. So I started working on it every night before I went to bed, so that I could wake up in my dream and take back control. And I'll never forget the first time it worked. It was so liberating. I was being chased, and I woke up in my dream, and I go, oh, I'm dreaming, right? And then I started doing what I learned to take back control. You can make things appear. You can make things disappear. This is all happening in your head. Those people chasing me, I made them right here, right? I stop and I look at their clothes, right? And I stopped them. I said, hey, you're in my head. This is my world. You ain't going to chase me. I said, look at your clothes. They look at their clothes. I said, I dressed you. Look at your shoes. I put those on your feet. This is my world. We play by my rules. And my life was never the same. After that, do you know what? I was just watching on Netflix. There's a show called Evil. And they said that, well, because this woman, she's being attacked by a demon. And so she wrote out something and taped it to the wall because she wanted to know if this was real or dreaming. And she said, you can't read when you're dreaming. And so then she'd know if it's real or dreaming. And if it's a dream, she wouldn't be scared of the demon. I hope that I remember to touch on that. Dreams are pretty important also, guys. They're real in their own way. So she did that. And so I started thinking about that. I can read in my dreams. So I Googled it real quick. Can you read in your dreams? And they said most people cannot. Only 1% can, because a part of your brain shuts off that reads, right? And so in the movie, she saw that she couldn't read it and it was just a dream, and then the demon went away. I realized I can read in my dreams. I do read in my dreams. I can feel in my dreams. So when you're lucid dreaming, I wanted to experience everything, right? I would look at a tree. I would look at the details in the bark. I would run my hand down it and feel it. And I'm seeing it, every detail. I'm feeling it. I would run my hands on concrete walls, right? I'd stop and talk to the people in my dreams. I would look at the light. It was a very real world, and you hear this a lot. It's more real than what we call the real world, my friends. And it's all right here in my own head. There's a lot to that. Now, about dreams being real or not real, they are real in their own way, but there's different kind of dreams. And so I want to talk about the witch of the crossroads, right? You know of those crossroads where you can make a deal with the devil, sell your soul to become famous and what have you. I got sucked into those crossroads. I don't know how it happened. And you know, I talked about this when I said I was going to make this video. I don't understand everything. I know enough to work in it and to get downloads, but I still don't have a full understanding of everything. Like, how did I get sucked into the crossroads? I fell in backwards, and it felt, I mean, it's dreaming, but it was different than dreaming, if you've experienced that. And so I fell in backwards, and I'm at the crossroads. Celia is there, and she is the witch of the crossroads, at least in my experience I'm having. I'm looking around. It's very gray and wavy, right? And as I'm thinking, when I think of waves, I think of quantum because you know how magic works, right? How life works, how material comes into particle, right? How energy comes into particle. It's all quantum. You know, when we add psyche, the mind, to that fire, right? We create material. And so it's very wavy, right? This place hasn't taken form, but if you add your consent, right, you make it solid for you, is the way I'm seeing it. Very gray. She, it was threatening in a way, but at the same time, I mean, yes, I was scared, respectful, scared kind of a thing. But there's also this, I have this connection to source, right? And so there's that I've had since I was a kid, that this, so I can say, yes, this is scary, but I'm not really scared because I know daddy, right? I know my family of light. I know me. I know what I'm capable of. I can fuck shit up if it comes down to it. I don't want to, right? Matter of fact, I even told Celia, I said, I don't want anyone left behind. I don't care if they're considered mixed or evil. I want everyone to have a hope and a future and love and life. And I feel most of these beings, these energetic beings that are so angry and destructive, it's because they've been hurt, they've been frustrated, and I believe there's healing for all. And I see it one day, it shall be that way. Whether you're in the physical or in the spiritual, there will be healing for all. I decree and declare that. And so it is. I told her I didn't want anyone left behind. No one to hurt. Spent some time in the crossroads. And speaking of reading in dreams and stuff, at the crossroads, I saw Celia and Sixth. Some other things went on. I don't think I need to talk about it. Before we get into the next part about the cult, I want to touch a little more on energy, healing, curses. The highest frequency wins. Well, let me put it this way. The strongest frequency wins. So I'll give you a couple examples. I won't go too far into these stories because I know some of you have heard these, but for the new people, I want you to see this. Then we'll move on. But I was at a park one time, and Spirit was telling me to go pray for her, that she had cancer, and Spirit did not want her to die. She had kids. Spirit wanted me to speak over her. You will live and not die. And so I went over to her, a little uncomfortable. I was the only dad amongst a sea of moms with their kids. They're like a wolf pack, you know what I mean? And so I was a little intimidated by that. But I went over, looked her in the eyes, and I said, Spirit just spoke to me. I didn't know if she's spiritual or religious, and I don't know how people are going to take this. And I said, God wanted me to tell you that he wants you to live and not die. And I said, you have cancer? She said she did. And I said, can I pray for you? And again, it's a little uncomfortable, but I'm just going with what I feel. You know, I grab her. I put her chest up against my chest. And I know some people are thinking, I don't think you can do that. I was in the back of my mind. I'm trying to stay in spirit, but in my mind, I was thinking, because I've mentioned the stories before, that was the Me Too time. And so here I'm with all these women. I push her chest up against my chest. I'm thinking, I hope this isn't sexual assault, but this is what I'm feeling. And the reason is because the strongest frequency wins. And I'm holding the frequency of health and life. And I've got this life that death cannot enter. I'm holding this health that sickness and disease dies when it touches me. And I hold her and I start speaking my light language loud and strong, and I feel it transfer, and that disease dies. And I'm in a park with people watching me, putting on a show, you know. saw her sometime later. I was with my wife and kids at the park. My wife was with me this time. This beautiful, vibrant, healthy woman walks up to me. I didn't recognize her. She said, she gave me a hug. Thank you. Thank you. My wife's looking like, what's going on here? And she told the story. Now it was her turn to feel awkward in front of my wife. And she told the story, and the cancer was gone. It's about energy is what I'm trying to get to here before I tell this story of the cult. I hope you're still here. Who's still with me after all this time? But I needed you to see this and understand this before I tell this story. Otherwise, you might just cut me off. It's about the energy. It's not about names. It's about frequency, and energy is going to make the form and the matter. Strongest energy wins. Okay. Let's get into my cult. I can tell this. I'm talking to myself. You can do this, Magus. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a couple deep breaths. I'm going to go get a drink of water, suck on a Ricola, ease my throat, go to the bathroom. You won't even know I'm gone. And I'm going to come back and I'll share this with you guys. Okay, I'm back. Hydrated, sucked on a Ricola. My body's shaking though, and I think it's just because last time I talked about this, it didn't go well. It's stirring up a lot in me where I'm having physical reaction to it. And that's why some of you were saying, Magus, you don't have to tell this story. And you guys moved my heart so much. Instead of, yeah, Magus, we want to hear it. You're saying, take care of your peace, take care of yourself. Well, I want to get it out, and I think it will be healing, and I feel like I'm in the right place to do it. Oh, I got to take off. You mind if I strip down? I just get hot. I'm shaky, but I want to do it. So I was in 9th grade, and I was always spiritual, as you could tell from the stories I've been telling you. But something changed when I was in 9th grade. My parents got a hold of somehow a youth pastor from Calvary Chapel. I don't know the reasoning for it. I haven't talked to him. I should have probably asked him why. But they wanted me to meet with a youth pastor. And we weren't super religious people at that time that I can remember. Like, I don't remember us really going to church that much. So every Wednesday, the youth pastor would come to our public high school, and he wanted to start a group. Well, the group started, it was just me and him. Because my parents set it up. I didn't search it out. Just one day at lunch, this guy walks up to me. I'm not going to use names for any of it, for the abuses and the cults, and because I don't want there ever to be like a cease and desist and I have to take it down, or defamation and get sued. My last video, I used names. So this time I'm going to try not to use names. This youth pastor sought me out. My parents had told him where I would be, who I was. Mom, Dad, if you're watching this, I'm not mad at you. I love you. I know you meant the best for me. And so we started the Christian group that meets at lunch on Wednesdays. And it began to grow, where pretty soon we got our own little room, and we're filling it up. And he started planting in me fears that I never had before. And you'll see with these things, they start out very nice, very hopeful, very friendship. Like, I just want to be your buddy, right? And that's the start. That's phase 1. Pretty soon he's telling me about blaspheming the Holy Spirit. Well, that's a fear I didn't have before. you know, he's telling me about if you're just, you got to be hot or cold. If you're lukewarm, you'll be spit out. Pretty soon, he's got me so just my whole life is thinking about staying out of hell. That's his main goal. Pretty soon, he's got me where material things, right? Money and cars and sex and women and music and movies and entertainment things, that just stay away from all that stuff. You just want to stay out of hell, right? And I remember me and my friends still talk about this because God bless him, I brought him into this. His big thing was one day, we're looking for that one great day, basically when you're dead, then it'll be good. But right now you got to suffer, right? And so now I'm getting into this mindset. I'm impressionable, that was 9th grade. And he has me, I read the Bible cover to cover in 9th grade. And I got OCD. Guys, I got OCD so bad. I was so scared of God, so scared of hell, so scared of the devil, so scared of demons, right? He's telling me stories. They use stories of God to put fear in you, right? The number one rule, fear God. And they're telling what's to be in awe of respect. But really, they're giving you fear. Right? The parents would stone their children when they're disrespectful. Right? They're saying that's what God wants. God would have them go in, kill the men, women, and the children. Right? Because they're the infidels. They're the people that haven't accepted Jehovah as their God. Right? It's planting energies and thoughts and ideas. Guys, I would get into such a place of OCD that I'd go home and I'd just put a pillow over my head. My friends were out, right, getting their driver's license, going out on dates, playing. I'm at home with a pillow over my head, worried. Did I have a bad thought? Did I blaspheme? All these stories, all these energies, so confused. So now there's this thing, I need to stay on God's good side, right? So I'm going to be a preacher. And so this youth pastor, right, he's my guide now. Instead of listening to my spirit guides, I'm listening to this human guide, a book. And so I need to go into ministry, right? I've gotten thrown out of high school now because I wouldn't stop evangelizing. Right, I'm handing out tracts. I'm reading my Bible in class when you're supposed to be doing work. I'm just belligerent. I would say things like, should I obey man or God to the teacher in front of the whole class? And I was brainwashed. I got thrown out of high school. So now I went to Calvary. I wasn't going to use names. Was I already say that? Oh, well, fuck them. I went to their college. They wouldn't take me. They said, you don't have a high school diploma. I go, I know. I got thrown out because my youth pastor and I were evangelizing. And so now I want to go into the ministry. Well, we can't let you in without a high school diploma. Here's where the cult part, that wasn't even the cult part, guys. So a man from Texas that my dad knows, he's an ex-Hell's Angel. He started a camp in Texas. It was really for troubled youth, which he didn't tell me that. They lied to me straight up. He told me he was going to raise me up. He was going to teach me how to play, because I wanted to play music, to sing and song to God, right? And I wanted to preach. He said it was a camp to make preachers, right? And evangelists and to build your gifts. and he's going to teach me to play music and how to preach. And so I am at this time, what am I, 15? 15? Yeah, I think I turned 16 when I was there. 15 years old. I get on a plane with this stranger and I go to Texas. That should be, now that's a red flag. Don't ever fucking go to Texas, right? I get there. It is not what they promised me, not what he had told me. I am setting up my bunk. It's a bunkhouse with a bunch of troubled youth. I didn't see a bunch of people that wanted to be preachers. I saw people that were cast out by society, and he took them in for a fee, right? He's making money off of it. It's a group of ex-Hells Angels. He was what he called an enforcer. He would actually kill people. And a lot of his other biker buddies that had gotten out of, and apparently you can't just get out of a gang like that, that they would actually come to the ranch and things ensued and fights and badness. But it was a group of angry bikers that got saved in prison, and now they started a church and a ranch. They had their own little church. Oh, guys, it was one of those churches like you see on TV. It wasn't good. The first night there, I set up my bunk, and there's a metal locker I put all my stuff in. They come in, dump all the stuff out of the locker, flip my bunk over, say, move over there. I'm all, whoa, what happened to the nice people in California that were talking to me about getting money out of my parents? My parents were rich. Like, that's like a flashing beacon for cults, right? They're looking for money. That's why I've never asked for money on this channel or in this ministry, and never will. I knew something was up. They're yelling, they're angry, they're throwing my stuff all around, made me move. They're taking control. I get to sleep. I'm already like homesick, thinking, uh-oh, something is off. I want to call my parents. They say, you will not talk to anyone while you're here. You will not contact your parents. I'm thinking, oh shit, something went awry. I'm stuck here. I can't contact my parents. I'm thinking, well, surely they'll call to check on me. Never happened. I finally get to bed. I get woke up. It's maybe 2, 3 in the morning. They wake us up and they take us to work. They're going to work us, and they're going to tire us, to break us, right? It's sleep deprivation. So we had many different jobs. We worked around a ranch. We took care of the pastor's everything, yard, house, maintenance, cars. We worked for tree trimming services. Anyone who needed work done for money, of course, but they kept the money. We were the workers. We were the slaves. They would physically harm you. I remember at the first day at the auto shop, they said, come here, boy. Didn't even talk to you like a human. Come here, boy. Hold this piece of metal here. So I'm holding this piece of metal. They're welding over me, and all the sparks are going over me and burning me. It's bright. They didn't tell me to close my eyes. I'm getting burned, and they're laughing. Was that hot, boy? I'm starting to get pissed, guys. Or I'm about to cry and lose my shit. And I thought this wasn't going to happen. Motherfuckers. They had me go out and move a bunch of tires and stuff. And I mean, as a stack of white trash motherfuckers, just they want me to stack up the tires. Just busy. We're trying to exhaust me. There is battery acid all over the tires. It's burning me. They're all, watch out for snakes, boy. And oh yeah, that battery acid, it's going to burn. Just put some water on it. They laugh. Threatening me. You break my equipment, boy. yelling. Their church service, the pastor actually jumped off stage, screaming in my 15. These are big, huge bikers, guys. I was scared. Deep voices, beards, angry motherfuckers. But they're talking about, they were the Old Testament type, right? Fresh out of prison. This is the guy I told you in my last video that his dad would chain him to a post and whip him. Anger, hate. You know, they were going to, they weren't winning the world with love. They were going to do it with violent, brute force. He jumped off the stage right in church in front of everyone, screamed in my face till I just broke down crying. I mean, it's just torture, abuse. I could see where the sexual assault was coming. I remember he would say, the Bible says we're to greet each other with a holy kiss. He'd give me a kiss on my cheeks and a hug, but it felt gay. I mean, no disrespect to my gay friends. I know I got gay friends on here. Got family members that are gay. I love you guys. But I'm not gay, so I didn't feel right. This big bearded motherfucker getting all up on me with his soft kisses. They weren't like a brotherly. It was like a little too mushy, little too rubby. Come to find out later, he got arrested. He was in his car with a dress and pantyhose on and a gun, passed out drunk or on drugs. I don't know, got arrested, took to jail. The other guys in the place were older than me, bigger than me, troubled. I wasn't troubled, right? I was going there to be a preacher. A lot of fights. Ooh. I won't go into all the stories. I'm getting upset, guys. But I'll tell a few more. I had a few things of solace. My weightlifting there. I found an old weight bench out in a old shed. Pulled it out, brushed it off, got the spider webs off. Started lifting weights. It was my place to feel good. They found out about it. They shot a deer, bow hunters, and they cut off the head and they set it on my bench in there just to laugh at me, just to blood all over it. They've just made a mess of it, just to screw with me. Speaking of screwing with me, they invited me out to lunch with them one time, which they never did, right? We were the slaves. We were nothing. They invited me out to a restaurant with them to eat with them. I was like, wow. And you know, you want their approval. You think they're men of God, right? You want their approval because you think you get their approval. You're getting God's approval, especially with the God they presented me, this God of war. Now I'm believing it. So they asked me to go out to lunch with them. We're walking to the restaurant. They're holding a black 50-gallon trash bag. I don't know what it's for. They ordered these amazing meals like country fried steak and potatoes and gravy, and my mouth's watering because I haven't ate good like that since I've been there. And I think it comes my turn to order. Waitress like, hon, what do you want? He goes, oh no, we brought his food. They put this 50-gallon trash bag out on the table and they made me eat out of the trash bag to show me to be humble, to embarrass me, right? They're trying to break me. I got story after story, guys. I'm not breaking the way they want me to break. So they poison me. I know this, one, because I got deathly sick. Second, because someone in the church told me that's what they do. She told me, she goes, oh, it breaks my heart. She goes, it's something about when the young men get so sick, it breaks my heart. now that I'm poisoned and sick and can barely function, don't have the energy to stop throwing up. I'm shaking. I'm sweating profusely. Now they're working me harder, right? With no rest. They're trying to break me mentally. I don't know what they want. And so here I can barely even, I'm dehydrated. I feel like I'm dying, right? And we get out in the truck. I'm shaking. And like the pastor, we're in a van with a bunch of people, all the other delinquents. We're in the van. I can't hardly breathe and move. He's all, hey, man, I forgot my Bible, boy. Go back in there and get my Bible. I can barely walk back to the church. I got to unlock the door, go in, find his Bible. Hurry up, boy. Come back, hand him his Bible. Didn't mention when they did poison me. I want to tell this story too. I want to get it out. I'm hoping this is going to be healing as I tell it. It was one of the pastors. There are many pastors, people above you. One of the pastor's wives that served me the poison, she didn't want to do it. This shows how naive and gullible and stupid I was at 15. She comes out to me and she's shaking, she's crying, saying, I don't want to do it. I can't. She takes it and drops it on the floor, right? Like, well, now he can't take it. They had put it in food. The husband's basically, don't question me, woman. Women in this time in Texas, you didn't question your man, especially in this church. Pick it up. She scoops it off the floor, back onto the plate, and she's couldn't look me in the eyes, head bowed, crying, hands it to me. I fucking ate it, guys. What is wrong with me? This is what breaks my heart. This is I guess what it was, I was brainwashed. I'm thinking these are men of God. I'm thinking if I question them, I'm questioning God, right? I'm thinking they told me the story. You guys hear me tell the story of Moses a lot, the hero of the Bible. They really ran that into me. So I didn't question the man of God. That's why I ate poison. If you don't know the story of Moses, he told the soldiers, go in, kill the men, women, and the children, bring back the spoils, bring back the riches, right? They're just infidels, right? They don't know Jehovah. Just kill them all, kill their babies. For those of you, have you ever stopped to think, what would that look like to kill? To kill a woman holding her child, to kill a baby? Sweet little, of all ages, children with their little soft round faces crying, ow, owie, owie. The soldiers said to Moses said, well, why are the women and children here? So we killed the men. We couldn't kill the women and children. We feel bad about it. It doesn't feel right. Don't question me. Don't question Jehovah. Kill them. You want to go to hell? I didn't want to go to hell. You guys know how scared I was of hell. Pillow over my face. I don't want to blaspheme. I just want to stay out of hell. I just want to be a good boy. I'll eat your poison. I ate their poison physically with my mouth and mentally with my ears and my mind. I ate it all. And what you eat, it becomes you. I was going to... Oh, so fucking angry. So mad, guys. I was about to ask you if you're okay. So I broke, but not in the way they thought I was going to break, guys. I broke the bad way, which in a funny way was kind of a good way. It was a mixed way. I'll give it that. I changed. I started to go down a path I was warned as a child not to go down. You can be really good, or you can be really, really, really bad. The kids in my dorm, older than me, liked to bully me. I was going to put an end to that shit. I picked one up. I was little. I'm discovering strength I didn't know I had. I picked this motherfucker up, ran him as hard as I could through a wall outside through our dorm. We went through drywall, insulation, outside sheathing. We were outside. I fucked him up. I put a new law in that dorm. Don't fuck with me. You want to fight amongst each other, play jokes amongst each other, don't come over here. I will kill you. And I meant it. I will fucking kill you. The pastor first thought it was cool. They brought me in. I thought they were going to lose it because I destroyed their dorm. I seen them, my friends, I saw them go into a violent rage because they had me wash and wax their car. But he opened up the doors and I didn't dry the door jamb. I thought he was going to kill me. Drool. Hate in his eyes. Ah! I thought they were going to kill me because I destroyed their dorm. They liked it. They liked it when it was towards someone else, though. When I turned it towards them, they didn't think it was as funny. The pastor, one of them, again, there's many of them, big, huge bikers, grabbed me one time and held me down because he sees, oh, you think you're tough now, huh? You beat up some big boys? You think you can take a man? At first, guys, as you're being smothered like that, it's the worst feeling. Claustrophobic, helpless. But then a calm came over me. I took a breath, I relaxed, and I looked him in the eyes. I said, you got me down now. You did it. Hope you're proud of yourself, 15-year-old boy. But let me tell you what's going to go down tonight. You're going to go to sleep. Your family's going to go to sleep. And you're going to lock your doors. And you're going to think you're real safe. But I'm going to get in there. And I'm going to slit your fucking throats. I've done gone evil on them, guys. They didn't like it anymore. They didn't think it was cool and funny anymore. My parents got a call. Come pick this boy up. Fly this guy home. We're done. I scared him, guys. I scared him good. Now I'm torn. I went in there wanting to become a preacher, a man of God, to be good, but I just saw something, the power in evil and hate and violence and threats. And I kind of liked it. I kind of liked that grown men, I saw the fear in their eyes. I liked how the big kids left me alone. Before my parents flew me out of there, I was treated like royalty. You doing okay, son? Instead of boy anymore, you okay, son? I don't know if they're worried about me or maybe a lawsuit from my parents later. I don't know. I got home. I had changed. I remember my girlfriend crying, saying, "What happened to you? What happened to you? You're not the same." I was hateful. I treated women now like how they treated their women. I remember my mom saying she didn't like who I was when I came home from there. I remember not being liked. Didn't like myself. Give me 1 second, okay? You want to know I'm gone. Okay, thank you. I just need to get a drink of water, calm down a little bit, suck on my Ricola. This is important. I won't get too far into it, but I went into the Army when I got out of there. Talk about just bad decision after bad decisions. The Army wasn't good for me, guys. It was just one more thing I was disillusioned as a young man about. I was promised it one way, and the reality of it was 1,000% different than what I was promised when I got there. It just wasn't good, guys. I'm not going to get into it. But the Army was not a good experience for me. I got out of the Army. I still wanted, for some reason, to be a preacher. I went to Bible college. I started getting behind the scenes. And this is where I don't know if I can use names because I don't want to get sued or have to take this video down. But they're big names. My parents are rich. I have access. Like I said, religious people seek out rich. So I had access behind the scenes. They all wanted to take me in with them because they knew it'd be money. And it was. They got buses, right? My parents are buying them Prevost buses, right? Building them buildings, money, and then bringing all their rich friends with them. They were getting rich. Still are to this day. But they had healing ministries where they'd fill out literally coliseums. Can you imagine a coliseum of people? And they'd tell them, write your prayer request on the back of a $100 check. Can you imagine a coliseum full writing out a $100 check that a lot of them really didn't have that extra money? And then he was going to lay on them and pray over them. It was a big joke, guys. They'd be back there laughing about the fools. They're wheeled in, crutched in, stretchered in, and stretchered out, wheeled out, but they kept the money. It was a joke. Sad. Got to a point where I lost my faith, especially after all I had been through, all the lies I had been told about God and government and the Bible and the Army. Supposed to be a hero, patriot. It wasn't. The lies, the deception. And not all the people, some of the people had good hearts, guys. Which makes it sadder because they're just die in the delusion or wake up to it. I lost my faith. I still loved God. I said, I don't know what else to do, God, so I'm not going to pray anymore. Well, you know where I am. If you want to find me, ended up losing everything. I had a beautiful home at the beach overlooking the ocean. I had a BMW and a Range Rover. A wife, beautiful wife. Lost it all. House gone. Car gone. Religion gone. Betrayed by my friend having an affair with my wife. Moved out to the woods. Broken. My neighbor, if you could call it a neighbor, you can't, well, it's growing around here now, but at the time, my nearest neighbor, he was the religious professor, world religions professor of our local university. Made a friendship with him. I'd go hunting with his wife. I'd go out getting firewood with him. He taught me how to fall trees. It's very dangerous. He gave me all the equipment I needed and information, showed me dangers to watch out for. And you spend time out in the forest like that, and you're just talking. And I know he's a religious professor. I share with him some of my story. He shares with me his story. He starts feeding me different books. I'm interested. He gives me books on Sufism, which really interested me. Taoism, Buddhism, Zoroastrianism. I wish I would have grabbed that little book where I could show you. He gave me a book called The Teachings of the Magi. And it completely rocked my world. Love the Sufism, the Taoism, really cool. But Zoroastrianism, the Magi, blew my mind. He taught me how to meditate, which was out of my comfort zone. It's one thing, two dudes to be out in the woods cutting trees, hunting, but where he came over to my house, we pulled the cushions off the couch, and we meditated, and it was good. And as I'm holding these new ideas I'm learning from Sufism and Taoism and Zoroastrianism, these higher ideas of God that I didn't even know was possible, right? The way I was taught, God was like love and hate. He could be at peace, or he could go to war. He could love you, kill you, right? Scary stories. But here, I'm learning something from Zoroastrianism where there's this highest principle of God good that's just good, right? Where it'd actually be impossible for the highest principle of good to be bad, right? This principle of God good couldn't get angry, jealous, hate, war, kill men, women, and children. It couldn't send sickness and disease. He's the highest good. And then higher you could even dream of that. Now I've got this idea of God in my head. Now I'm learning how to meditate on that, to hold that frequency. I'm starting to learn. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling God for the first time. God's speaking to me. I had to set down my idea of religion and God. And that's hard for someone that has gone to Bible college, right? You were patted on the head. You're a good boy. You're learning your scriptures. Yay! Celebrate you. I'm smart, right? You can get a doctorate in the Bible. You know what I mean? And we like that praise and reward. It's hard for someone like that to set that down. But I had been broken. So I had set down the Bible. I set down Jehovah. And I humbled myself and said, God, come find me. Now he did. But for that to happen, I had to set down, because a lot of times God will come to them and they'll rebuke him. They'll call him a demon, right? They'll say, it's too good to be true, too good to be God, because it doesn't line up with what the Bible says or the Quran says or what Jehovah or Allah is supposed to look like. This is too good. So they think they're being deceived by someone coming as a being of light. It's too light. It's too love. It's too good to be God. Some of you can hear the nonsense in that. Some still can't. It felt good to sit there and meditate, and I'm holding this and I'm communing again. And I'm being hugged by love and God. So sorry you had to go through that. I love you so much. So sorry. I was there the whole time saying, no, I'm right here. I love you. It's light. It's good. It's not that. But you couldn't hear me. You kept pushing me away. But I was always there. I never left you. I love you so much. I still hurt from the lies, from the physical and mental abuse. As you saw in this video, I still can't tell this story without getting angry and sad. The fear is gone. That's good. I don't fear. I feel powerful. I am powerful. I feel good. I feel God. Can I be preachy? And let me say this first. I'm not trying to convert you to Zoroastrianism. I just want you to see the thought behind Zarathustra's thinking. Because Zoroastrianism had a run at it. I still love it. I'm so grateful for it. The base teaching's good, but man got in there and messed it up. I've studied all the religions, the occults, everything. Zoroastrianism started as the best, but some of the worst, torturous, awful stories I've read in the history of religions happened under people that called themselves magi. They broke away from Zarathustra's teachings. They became Zoroastrians instead of followers of the all-good spirit, instead of followers of the original word, instead of followers of Zarathustra. They became Zoroastrians. And it took a bad turn. So I don't want to turn anyone into a named religion. I want you to find the highest principle of God good, that is love and light and health and peace of mind and joy and a good future and a good life. And you're not going to find that in a religion, not even Zoroastrianism. But we're going to start with Zoroastrianism as the base, okay? Zarathustra, his message, Zoroaster means undefiled, undiluted, pure starlight. It means pure starlight. It's unmixed. So this God, again, it wasn't love and hate. It wasn't peace and war. It's reasonable, right? You can wrap your mind around that. Where before, in the Abrahamic religions, you're always confused, right? Is this God or not? right? It gets very confusing. If a being comes to you and says, sacrifice your son as a burnt offering to me, right? And they're calling that God. You know, I've shared with you, of course, the story of Moses. Is that good to go in and kill the men, women, children? Is that a good spirit? It gets confusing in these religions. The story of Jephthah, I won't get into it big, but he made a deal with Jehovah. If I go in and kill the men, women, and children and bring back the spoils, I'll sacrifice the first person that comes out of my home. His daughter comes out, said she had a tambourine singing, Daddy's home, Daddy's home, slit her throat, burn her up to Jehovah as a burnt offering. Said the Jewish people celebrated her for thousands of years, or celebrated him for thousands of years because he kept his promise. How do you know what is right and wrong? And it gets very gray, very confused. You don't know if you're hearing from a devil or from an angel, right? What are you hearing from? And then they got you scared. If you mix them up, you blasphemed and you're going to go to hell to burn forever. If you upset Jehovah, you'll go to hell. If you upset the man of God, you'll go to hell. And it's very confusing. In Zoroastrianism, it's just good. God is just good. You know, Meister Eckhart, any talk of God that doesn't comfort you is a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. God is just good. You've been lied to, I'm afraid. Sorry, you were lied to. I know it's scary to set down a religion that mom and dad, grandma and grandpa, people you're told to look up to, pastors and preachers, told you, you know, this is what it is. It's hard to set those things down. But you're going to probably have to. If you're in this video this long, you might be thinking about it at least. The message, God is just good. Zarathustra had that right. He had it right. His religion was right. It got screwed up down the road, but it started off right. The right thought. God is the highest principle of good. God and good are the same thing. If it ain't good, it ain't God. Here's a trick. They try to trick you what's good. I'm beating you because I love you. Right? That's how that cult I was in Texas was. I'm beating you because I love you. They try to change what love is, what good is. Try to taint it. You'll know it. Your heart, inside of you is a divine spark of Fervashis that Zarathustra talked about. It's a book written in you. If you read that book, you'll know the truth. Right? What do they tell you in those Abrahamic religions? Don't trust your heart. You'll get tricked by a devil. Right? Watch out for those ones that are just light and love and good and joy. Watch out for those. Don't trust your heart. Read our book. Only read our scary book. Listen to our priest. You can get deceived. You want to go to hell? Right? Fear, confusion. They got to keep you confused. Otherwise, how are you going to lay down your life for God and government? How are you going to send your children to their wars? How are they going to get your money from you? Your service. They got to keep you in that confused state. There's no confusion in the all good spirit. It's just good. It's simple. Good is good. Bad is bad. The original word of the good religion, all good comes from the Creator. No evil comes from him. From this original word, the spiritual world is made straight and the material world comes into order. The original word of false religion is that evil comes from the Creator. And in this false idea is all the evil creatures suffer. End your suffering today and know God is just good. It's that pure light. Pure light. All good. God is just good. If you'll take in that pure spirit and you'll hold it, that asha, that truth runs out the lie and illusion. Those gods, those stories, they lose all their power over you because the truth runs out the lie. The truth exposes the lie. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. The darkness just flees. No fight. Just is. You'll find asha is what is real. It's the real above all that seems real. It's what was, is, and shall be. It's substance. It's the original order and harmony and blueprint of the perfect Creator's perfect mind, the only thing that could come from Him. I use Him, but it's whole, right? It's the male and the female. It's whole. It's all. As you hold that pure love, and you're going to find, you have to close the eye, go inside to that divine spark that's pure, and you attune yourself to it. You become the love that hate, fear, greed, war, confusion, all that can't live in this love. It's a light darkness can't live in. It's pure, it's good, it's God. It's beautiful. I love you, God good. Not because I'm scared of you, not to get out of hell. I love you because you're so beautiful and so good, and I love you. It's a good place to be. Asha is. Did we cover everything? Is there anything left to be said? Asha is. That's what's truth. That's what's substance. God is all good. His world is all good. Attune yourself to it. Step into that possibility. There's a potential there for a good life for you. Restore God's image. It'll restore your image. And you'll live in love and life and peace and joy and power and freedom. I love you. I love you. And Asha is.